It was on a dreary night of November that Victor Frankenstein beheld the accomplishment of his toils. With his creation finally complete, he would set out to terrorize neighboring towns of Switzerland. Actually, he was so disgusted with his creation that he got a fever for over a month. Meanwhile, the monster wandered around forests with the mind of a newborn child and the body of an ugly giant, or so he says. According to the monster, he was a benevolent creature at first. However, after being cast out because of his appearance, he fell upon the path of revenge upon his creator. He relates to Victor, "I am malicious because I am miserable," and that's how most people nowadays end up being the creature. Far too human-like to avoid expressing empathy for its tragic situation. Isolated from civilization and thus happiness. Unable to make any human connection due to its ugly looks, and thus driven to a violent revenge in order to punish its creator for causing its suffering. These ideas echo today's scientific conflicts in finding answers to fundamental questions of our lives. On one hand, is behavior an innate part of our personality, or is it formed by our daily life experiences and the environment around us? We don't know much about the biological origins of the monster. However, looking into the time period and historical context, we can find likely sources of scientific inspiration for the electrical experiments leading to the monster's creation. Scientists of the time were obsessed with creating life through electricity, after the discovery that running an electrical current through a dead frog caused it to move as if it were alive again. In England, the technique of galvanism, the stimulation of muscles with pulses of electrical current, was allowed on the remains of executed murderers thanks to the Murder Act of 1751. Therefore, it's extremely likely that Victor Frankenstein's access to body parts for his monster came from dead criminals. This lends credibility to the idea that if there's something biologically different about murderers, then the monster's violent tendencies and eventual killings can be traced back to his biological beginnings as a fusion of dead criminals. On the other hand, during the Romantic era, there was also an emphasis being placed on the upbringing of children and how it affected their personality. Scientists were also intrigued by the concept of feral children. Children raised without any socialization that ended up unable to reintegrate into society and in a permanent mentally stunted state. This raised the question as to the possibility of human perfectibility. This can be seen in Victor's motivation for his creation. Can he create an ideal being? Taken in the scope of feral children, it's possible that the monster's murderous and almost animalistic tendencies are due to a lack of socialization. However, the monster was exposed to human morality and ethics early in its life. Perhaps its capacity for revenge, an entirely human trait, was a result of its exposure to human behavior, lending credibility to the idea that it was the monster's upbringing that brought about its capacity for violence and evil. The outcome of these experiments during Shelley's time led to the belief that nurture played a more important aspect in the development of children. The stories and experiments of feral children shocked the general public and led to the belief that, in the words of modern scientist Dalthwaite, Frankenstein and other works of the time attempted to realize ideas of human perfectibility through isolation or innovative educational schemes, whether in fiction, philosophy, or actuality, produced monsters or at least harmed the subjects of such experiments. The relationship between upbringing and inherent traits in Frankenstein remains relevant even today in the nature versus nurture debate. Frankenstein shows the longevity of the arguments and provides a historical context to people's beliefs. In addition, there are still children being abandoned or kept from having normal interactions in the world, which causes serious mental challenges for them. Additionally, investigation into the role that DNA plays in our daily lives could provide us with significant clues in how we can be able to help victims of childhood neglect.